is how do you deal with the grief of a person who is still living, particularly a parent? So, in full transparency, what prompted me to want to do this particular mental health panel is I have a classmate of mine who wrote a book about grieving. And I bought the book, you know, just to support. Like, all right, girl, you out here writing books. Let me buy your book, right? So I'm reading through the book, and as I'm reading through it, I started thinking about my relationship with my mother, and we are not communicating. Like, there's just been an absolute break in the relationship right now, and I realized that I was grieving that relationship as I was reading the book. So grief to me at first absolutely meant death, right?
Yep.
But then as I started thinking about the going through the stages, you know, of grief and all of that, it was absolutely applicable to that relationship and the fact that I no longer have that integral piece of the relationship. But it's not that she's dead, it's just that we can't coincide in the same space right now. So to Crystal's question, when we're dealing with a person who's still living, how do we go through the process of grieving them when we don't have that final closure of acceptance that they are not here anymore?
Listen, I can 100% speak on that one. Let me tell you something. Because I went through I was raised with my mother and my father. And I want to say my son is 10. So probably about 10 years ago, my mother and my father decided to separate after 30 years due to, you know, their stuff or whatever. So in the midst of that, my relationship with me and my father started to shift, and it wasn't on my end. It was, you know, on his, because if it was me, I would 100% accept responsibility for it. When I was pregnant with my daughter's 2 years old. When I was pregnant with my daughter is when it really got to the point where I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Because I was caught between a rock and a hard place of, okay, I'm supposed to honor my parents, you know, but how do I honor my parent when I'm in this situation that is abusive and not doing well for me? I was conflicted, you know. So I have been people were telling me, well, it's your daddy and you only get one daddy, but then I'm just like, but I wouldn't allow my husband to abuse me, so why should I allow him? You know, I went to church, talked to the pastor. He was like, he told me straight up, I don't care who it is, you should never deal with someone that's abusive. And so when I was pregnant with my daughter, the situation that happened, I really had to make the decision to say I'm done. And so fast forward, my daughter was born, and then the next year, my father's birthday is in July, and then Father's Day in July. So that was probably one of the hardest when I realized I was grieving, because as everybody's posting, you know, their Father's Day stuff, and then I have friends who parents actually died and who wish that they could have told their parent, Happy Mother's Day, Happy Father's Day. And I sat there and I said, well, excuse my language, but goddamn, like I can actually really call my daddy, but I can't call him, because if I open up that book, I'm getting hurt again. If I open it up again, I'm getting hurt. And I was like, how do I grieve the loss of someone who is still here? But when I realized and I said, I'm like, it's the same process. You still got to go through it. Because when I think back to our situation, I was more sad and hurt than anything, because I'm like, you know, it's a difference when you wasn't raised with your parent versus when you spent your whole life with your parent, and then it turns, you know, it turns like, you know, go for the turn for the worse. So I'm like, okay, I got to kind of process and go through this stuff. And so I had to go through the same process, honestly. I feel like it made it worse though, because that person is physically there. Like you can physically touch them. You can call them if you want. You're not sitting like, I wish I shoulda, coulda, woulda, wish I could have. They're there, but you can't because of the fact that the relationship is done.
Toxic. It could be toxic, which is
it's too toxic. So what I had to do is I had to understand that regardless of who it is, I have to protect me. And if anything that's in my space is affecting me here, I can't do it.
Very true. I do, I guess, and this is if it is like a negative relationship. I don't know, Crystal. So I don't know if that was what she was alluding to. But even if it's in a positive light, like in the sense of our parent is sick and their health is deteriorating, or they have dementia or something where they are no longer who you remember them to be. I do think it's important to practice mindfulness. I always think it's important to practice mindfulness. So mindfulness is just being in the moment and connecting to what's around you. So like I'm practicing mindfulness right now. I'm a part of this panel, but I'm not being distracted. Like, this is what it is. So even if it is a parent who has cancer or, you know, dementia or any of that, you're in that moment with them. My grandfather passed a few years ago from bone cancer, and this strong man, this, you know, awesome man, just like withered away. And towards the end, he wasn't speaking, he wasn't eating. And so it's like, how can I process that? And it's like, you know what? He just wants to sit in the sunshine, you know? And so like certain things that my aunt took care of him, which I understand is really difficult to see like your father deteriorate. But I mean, like, it would be the little things when he was still able to talk and he would just want to be driven around, or, you know, just want to be outside, or can you play this movie with, you know, for me? And she'll sit in there, you know, she'll sit there with him. So like really just being in the moment, and, you know, because we all know what's happening, you know, even if it is something that you understand, like this person's deteriorating, or people can die instantly. But if you know that this is happening, just be in the moment with them. Like, wow, we watched this movie, or we laughed, or whatever. So it is one of those things where how you grieve, whether it's a healthy relationship with your parent or unhealthy.
And it's the exact same process.
Yep.
I think
process
that helps to provide some type of insight for what one might be feeling, right? So, Shakita, I feel like we grew up in the same house, clearly. I'm like, yes, girl, yes.
Like, for real.
But when I was trying to process, because I got a lot of those responses, and Crystal, again, we're not sure about the circumstances surrounding your situation, so I can only speak for me. In the, you know, well, you only got one mama, so, you know, you gotta, you know, and well, that's your mama, and that's all people could say was, you know, well, that's still your mama. And I'm like, yeah, but it's toxic, right?
But you know what though, Kimberly, I'm gonna tell you this. But this is the thing though, I'm gonna tell you the reason why they're saying that. It's because they don't know. It's not, you know what I mean? I mean, it's a difference if maybe you have a parent that's abusing drugs, you know, or substances, and they're going through that process. But when you have an abusive parent, and it doesn't have to mean they're hitting you, just going to say these things and they are toxic. If they haven't experienced it, they're not going to really understand it. So it's definitely, it's hard for them to see, like, because, you know, for them to really see, like, well, how could you do that? And I'm gonna even speak like for you. All my life, you know, and I'm sure you all are the same, you probably always heard about deadbeat dads. So as I navigated into therapy and I'm starting to meet with families, especially here in Florida, I can't speak nationwide, but here in Florida, oh my God, I have several clients on my caseload who are dealing with the deadbeat mothers and dealing with the loss of their mothers who have abandoned them and different things. And it changed my perspective, because I'm like, okay, and now I can see how these kids are like, I don't want to have nothing to do with her because she's toxic for my life. But if they are not experiencing it, and it's not their fault, it's not, you know, a wrong or right, but if they're not experiencing it, it's either for them to say, well, how could you just abandon your mom? Like, that's your mom. You only get one mom, but they just don't know. They haven't had that experience yet.
Yeah.
And hopefully
Crystal,
they never have to.
Correct. Crystal did say that was it. So I hope, Crystal, that provides some type of comfort and support in that situation, that you are not alone in that. And just making sure that we also honor our feelings and go through those stages of grief, even for these people who may still be alive.